Chapter 11: The Environment. GPS Networks. The Global Positioning System (GPS) is a satellite-based navigation system made up of a network of 24 satellites placed into orbit by the U.S. Department of Defense. GPS was originally intended for military applications, but in the 1980s the government made the system available for civilian use. GPS works in any weather conditions anywhere in the world 24 hours a day. There are no subscription fees or setup charges to use GPS. GPS satellites circle the Earth twice a day in a very precise orbit and transmit signal information to Earth. GPS receivers take this information and use triangulation to calculate the user's exact location. Essentially, the GPS receiver compares the time a signal was transmitted by a satellite with the time it was received. The time difference tells the GPS receiver how far away the satellite is. Now, with distance measurements from a few more satellites, the receiver can determine the user's position and display it on the unit's electronic map. A GPS receiver must be logged onto the signal of at least 3 satellites to calculate a 2D position, latitude and longitude, and track movement. With 4 or more satellites in view, the receiver can determine the user's 3D position, latitude, longitude, and altitude. Once a user's position has been determined, the GPS unit can calculate other information, such as speed, bearing, track, trip distance, distance to destination, sunrise and sunset time, and much more. Today's GPS receivers are extremely accurate, thanks to their parallel multi-channel design. For example, Garmin, one of the most popular GPS brands, has 12 parallel channel receivers that are quick to lock into satellites when first turned on, and they maintain strong locks even if there is dense foliage or urban settings with tall buildings. Certain atmospheric factors and other sources of error can affect the accuracy of GPS receivers. Newer GPS receivers have WAAS, which is the Wide Area Augmentation System capability. This capability can improve accuracy to less than 3 meters on average. No additional equipment or fees are required to take advantage of this WAAS. Users can also get better accuracy with differential GPS, DGPS, which corrects GPS signals to within an average of 3 to 5 meters. The U.S. Coast Guard operates the most common DGPS correction service. This system consists of a network of towers that receive GPS signals and transmit a corrected signal by beacon transmitters. In order to get the correct signal, users must have a differential beacon receiver and beacon antenna in addition to their GPS. The 24 satellites that make up the GPS space segment are orbiting the Earth about 12,000 miles above us. They are constantly moving, making 2 complete orbits in less than 24 hours. These satellites are traveling at speeds of roughly 7,000 miles an hour. GPS satellites are powered by solar energy. They have backup batteries on board to keep them running in the event of a solar eclipse, when there's no solar power. Small rocket boosters on each satellite keep them flying in the correct path. GPS signals. GPS satellites transmit 2 low power ratio signals. The signals travel by line of sight, meaning that they will pass through clouds, glass, and plastic, but will not go through most solid objects such as buildings and mountains. A GPS signal contains 3 different bits of information: pseudo-random code, ephemeris data, and almanac data. The pseudo-random code is simply an ID code that identifies which satellite is transmitting information. You can view this number on your GPS unit satellite page, as it identifies which satellites it's receiving. The ephemeris data, which is constantly transmitted by each satellite, contains important information about the status of the satellite, healthy or unhealthy, current date, and time. This part of the signal is essential for determining a position. The almanac data tells the GPS receiver where each GPS satellite should be at any time throughout the day. Each satellite transmits almanac data showing the orbital information for the satellite and for every other satellite in the system. GPS has a variety of applications on land, at sea, and in the air. Basically, GPS is usable everywhere except where it is impossible to receive the signal, such as inside most buildings, in caves and other subterranean locations, and underwater. The most common airborne applications are for navigation by general aviation and commercial aircraft. At sea, GPS is also typically used for navigation by recreational boaters, commercial fishermen, and professional mariners. Land-based applications are most diverse. The scientific community uses GPS for its precision timing capability and position information. Recreational uses of GPS are almost as varied as the number of recreational sports available. GPS is popular among hikers, hunters, snowmobilers, mountain bikers, and cross-country skiers, just to name a few. Anyone who needs to keep track of where he or she is to find his or her way to a specific location or know what direction and how fast he or she is going can utilize the benefits of the global positioning system. GPS is now a commonplace in automobiles as well. Some basic systems are in place and provide emergency roadside assistance at the push of a button. More sophisticated systems that show your position on a street map are also available. Currently, these systems allow a driver to keep track of where he or she is and suggest the best route to follow to reach a designated location. Here are my sources.